Hello, welcome to Graceful Butterflies. I'm your host, Grace Blysingham. Today we're going to talk about the migration of the monarchs and the hummingbirds, which is currently occurring in southeast Texas. Stay tuned. I'm in my garden at my home, and I am very excited that the monarchs have migrated into this area in southeast Texas. I live in Friendswood in particular, and I've also found the hummingbirds have arrived as well. So what can you do to keep them in your yard or to attract them to your yard? Here we go. If you want to attract monarch butterflies to your yard, you need to plant milkweed. There's lots of variety of milkweed. Here's one, it's called Silky Gold. I also have a very new one I've just planted, and that's aquatic milkweed, and that's a native milkweed. I've found a monarch that had migrated to my yard, and she laid several eggs. The eggs are the little tiny white dots. Now they're usually not on top of the leaves. They're usually on the underside of a leaf, like this one is. That little white dot. So you can look at your milkweed leaves. Oh, there's another one right there. And she came around and she kind of egg bombed me. That's okay. It's time. Here's an established milkweed that I have. And you see all those little orange dots? Can you see them? Those are actually aphids. And a lot of people are like, what do we do about the aphids? You don't do anything. You leave them alone. It's part of the ecosystem. The milkweed beetles and the milkweed bugs will come around. So will lady beetles, ladybugs. They'll take care of those aphids pretty soon. The aphids won't hurt your milkweed. Throughout my garden, you'll find little structures. This little wooden structure here, and I have a little metal little brace right there. I found that the wooden little perches are good for many things. The caterpillars will climb up on them to form their chrysalis. And I put the ladder near the milkweed, but a lot of times the caterpillars, they like to go far away from the source to go into chrysalis. And they'll go all the way down the fence line to the back fence to other trellises that I have back there. And then sometimes they'll even go all the way to the house up on the awnings to make their chrysalis. Butterflies of all sorts like flowers that are nice and round and kind of open so they can sit and drink the nectar from them. So this Indian blanket is a very good example of a butterfly-friendly flower for your garden. Here's a few more butterfly-friendly plants. Again, the nice flat surfaces that butterflies can land on and feed from, and a variety of colors as well. Here's another butterfly-friendly plant. It's passion vine. Right now there are no flowers on it, and I haven't seen any caterpillars just yet, but the Gulf fritillary, this is the host plant for that butterfly. And the Gulf fritillary caterpillars will get on this all throughout the summer, and they will then pupate and go into chrysalis and become beautiful Gulf fritillary butterflies. Here's a citrus tree that's in my yard, and I have 4 different types of citrus in my yard, and I like the citrus trees not only for the fruit we get off of them, but citrus trees are favored by the swallowtails. And every year I have swallowtail butterflies that will come lay their eggs and then the caterpillars will feed on the leaves. They don't hurt the fruit trees. Fruit trees are big enough that they can sustain a few swallowtail butterflies. The hummingbirds will feed from the nectar sources in my yard, but I always do like to provide a hummingbird feeder as well. Remember, you don't need to put dye into your hummingbird food. Clear hummingbird food is just fine. The red color on the feeder itself will attract the hummingbirds, so you don't need to use red dyed nectar. And remember to keep your feeders clean. In the summertime, that means changing it out every 2 or 3 days. It will grow mold quite quickly in the summertime. So I find that the saucer type of hummingbird feeders work very well. I get a lot of action on this particular hummingbird feeder. The hummingbirds like the coral honeysuckle very much. Notice the coral honeysuckle has a nice tubular type of flower, and that's what the hummingbirds prefer. They like tubular shaped flowers more than flat disc shaped flowers. This is my crossvine on my back fence, and it's blooming nicely right now. Again, lots of tubular flowers, and the hummingbirds really like that very much. I also will find a chrysalis that forms on the vines throughout the year. And of course, sometimes the chrysalis will be on the actual arbor itself or the structure that I have, my trellis. Here's another type of hummingbird feeder that I have. It's one of the bottle feeders, and it's colored with red glass. Again, I use clear nectar sources for my hummingbird feed. And keep in mind, hummingbirds are quite territorial, particularly the males. So I normally have a minimum of 3 feeders spaced throughout my yard so that they don't fight over one particular feeder. They love to chase each other. They put on quite the show. So if you have 3 feeders in your yard or more, then the hummingbirds will be able to all eat without being bullied away from a particular source. I also provide for the insect feeding birds, such as mockingbirds. So I use dried mealworms for their food. They also, of course, will eat seeds, but the dry mealworms, it gives them additional protein that they need, particularly in the springtime when they are laying eggs and raising young. So provide different types of food for your birds, for the insect eaters as well as for the seed eaters. I hope I provided you some information that you found useful or at least enjoyable. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.